My name is Daniel Williams and this is my video blog for Politics of Development. This video blog will be based upon my essay question, which was whether medical NGOs promote sustainable development of healthcare sectors in developing countries. The structure of the video blog is as follows. In the first section, I hope to give a brief background to the general topic and to my essay question. The main body of the video blog will look at the idea of AIDS exceptionalism, and then this will be supported with an epidemiological point. And then concluding the video blog will be a concluding remark. The title of my research essay question has the term sustainable development included in it. And this term is not well known amongst members of the public, and I think it's important to define it before we embark on the main body of this video blog. Now, sustainable development is development that meets the needs of current generations without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own. And for the purpose of my essay, I frame sustainable development in terms of resilience to disease. Another area in which people have kind of doubt upon what medical NGOs bring is what they actually do. They do numerous jobs, and this ranges from the classic image of them helping out during crises, but this is nowadays moves now towards the individual and community. So there are now family planning NGOs focusing on raising awareness in the community about certain diseases, that kind of thing. And then the third question which many have is what the kind of problems which medical NGOs face. The first one, which I think is huge, is whether there is war existing in a country. If there is war, this becomes a major hindrance to a medical NGO, as they cannot fulfill plans, and there is a possibility that workers for medical NGOs could become hostages in certain situations. But in addition to this is the idea that due to the deluge of NGOs moving into developing countries, there's been a fragmentation of health systems in developing countries, which has led to poor national policies from governments and the failure to really address the needs of those who are in need. AIDS exceptionalism forms the main part of this video blog, and it's important to note how synonymous HIV and AIDS has become with the sub-Saharan African region. I hope to explain 2 points to reinforce this idea of AIDS exceptionalism. Firstly is the idea of NGO registration. Now, I'll be talking about this in reference to the Malawi case, and this is from 1999 to 2005. This is where we saw 44 HIV and AIDS NGOs registered, compared to 25 within the domain of health, 20 within the domain of education, and 20 in orphan care. Now, many have questions as to why there's been 44 for HIV and AIDS and only 20 to orphan care. And I think there's 2 reasons for this. Firstly is the push for finances, and secondly is this notion that HIV and AIDS work is classed as soft. Soft being jobs such as community awareness raising projects like I talked about in the brief background section. And this has bred resentment from other NGO sectors such as those in agriculture, education, or working in hospitals, where there is some degree of expertise or the need for special machinery, where within each of these respective sectors there are planned procedures where each NGO must follow. Secondly, refers to this point on finance, which is key within medical NGOs. we have seen that many non-HIV and AIDS NGOs have drawn the somewhat ambiguous link towards HIV and AIDS in a push to acquire finance. So we have seen how a medical NGO based with the issue of sanitation has made the link of HIV and AIDS in order to acquire funds to fulfill jobs on sanitation. And I think this seriously questions the notion on which there is the funding process towards NGOs. The epidemiological aspect to this idea of AIDS exceptionalism is of paramount importance. When one thinks of the situation of HIV/AIDS in sub-Saharan Africa, you'd imagine that the cases are in the millions, late 100,000s. However, partly this is true, but it is more in comparison towards other diseases which I'm interested in. So in 2003, there were 900,000 cases of HIV. However, in 2002, there were 2,853,317 cases of malaria in Malawi. And you start to question why it is that the development funds within Malawi saw a 30-fold increase, which really starts to question what is the most prominent threat within the sub-Saharan African region. To conclude, I would just like to leave 3 points. Firstly, regards the acknowledgement of other diseases. The prevalence of malaria, yet the lack of funding in comparison to HIV and AIDS is striking. And it is until that we can truly acknowledge the appearance and size of other diseases can we then start to make progress and then talk about ideas of sustainable development within a country. Secondly, I believe that there needs to be a serious reassessment of the discourse surrounding HIV, AIDS, and the implicit access or understanding of an implicit access to more funding for medical NGOs. Now, I think this comes down to the relationship between donor, NGO, and recipient. There needs to be a tripartite relationship in order to truly delve into the issue. And this leads me on to my last point, which regards the donor. The donor in the 21st century is now growing in expectation. There is a demand of the donor that certain things are met within a certain time frame. And I believe these demands need to be reasonable and maybe even reeled back in. And I think one way in which we can encourage more reasonable demands is through the donor accompanying practitioners in the field to gain a greater understanding of the complexities on the ground while still setting out targets for practitioners to be met. Thank you for watching my video blog.